So this was interesting. In December 2025, an FDA expert panel basically said out loud what a lot of doctors and patients have been feeling for years, that testosterone has been regulated in a way that may have gone too far. And honestly, that's a pretty remarkable thing to hear. Because for a long time, testosterone has almost been treated like it belongs in the same category as steroid abuse, scandal, cheating in sports. And the result is that a lot of men who actually had suboptimal testosterone, real symptoms, and a real decline in quality of life were often not handled well by the system. They were brushed off or delayed or told, well, you're just getting older. And look, sometimes aging is part of it. Of course it is, but sometimes that's not the solution. So I want to talk about what the FDA panel actually said, why I think that part of this shift is a good thing, and also why I think this can go wrong very fast if people abuse it. I'm Dr. Sajid Burud. I'm an internal medicine physician and I've been practicing preventive and longevity medicine for over a decade. And this is one of those topics where the internet usually gets it wrong in both directions. So on one side, testosterone gets talked about like it's reckless and dangerous for basically everyone. And on the other side, it gets marketed like it's some kind of a universal fix for your energy, for your mood, muscle, motivation, and masculinity. A real medicine is usually somewhere in the middle. For the right patient, testosterone can be absolutely helpful, but it's not casual and it should not be approached casually. So here's the core of the FDA announcement. For years, testosterone therapy was mainly approved in a very narrow situation. A man had to have low testosterone and a specific underlying medical cause. So not just symptoms, not just low labs. You usually had to fit into a clear diagnostic checklist box. Something like the pituitary disease, Klinefelter syndrome, gonadal issues, things like that. And yes, I understand the logic, but in real life, it's different what we clinicians see. I mean, what about the man in his late 40s or early 50s who has low libido, low energy, poor recovery, reduced muscle mass, maybe depressed mood, maybe brain fog and repeatedly low testosterone, but not diagnosed with a pituitary problem or a rare genetic diagnosis? I mean, that man exists all the time. And I've been seeing this in my practice every time. And for years, a lot of those men landed in this awkward gray zone. Some doctors were comfortable seeing these patients and giving them testosterone. Some were not. Some patients had to go from doctor to doctor just to have a real conversation about it. And that's the part why this panel discussion matters a lot. Because what they're essentially saying is maybe we were being too restrictive. Maybe we were making access too difficult even for the men who genuinely needed it. They needed to be evaluated and in some cases treated well. And I think that message is important. Now I'll be honest. I do agree with part of that. I think testosterone probably has been over-restricted. I do think there have been men with real symptoms who were not taken enough seriously. I do think some physicians became so cautious or so uncomfortable with the topic that they defaulted to doing nothing. And that's always not good medicine. Because sometimes the patient in front of you is not asking for a shortcut. He's not asking for a performance enhancer. He's just telling you that something feels off and it's affecting his life. And that deserves a real workup. It deserves more than just a form. So yes, I think some of this shift is overdue. But then there is the part that worries me. Once something like this leaves the medical discussion and turns into headlines and clips and social media content, the interpretation can change almost immediately. And then suddenly the message becomes, see, testosterone was unfairly restricted. It's safer than people thought. More men should be getting testosterone replacement therapy. That is exactly the kind of simplification that causes problems. Because remember, testosterone is not automatically bad, but it's not automatically appropriate also. It depends on the patient. It depends on the testosterone levels. It depends on the age, symptoms, fertility plan, cardiovascular risk, your sleep, body composition, metabolic health, your lab test and the follow-ups. All of this matters. This is not something you can reduce to one number and one sales pitch. And there are a few things that really need to stay in the conversation. Those are the risk factors. One is the cardiovascular risk. Now, that doesn't mean testosterone is dangerous for every man. I want to be very clear about it. But a healthy man, carefully confirmed suboptimal testosterone, is not the same as a man with an underlying cardiovascular disease, a clotting risk, arrhythmias, untreated sleep, or a whole set of metabolic health problems. Those are different patients. They need different levels of caution. The second thing, is a lab monitoring. Now, testosterone can raise your hematocrit levels, and in some patients, some other parameters. So in plain English, it can thicken the blood by increasing red blood cell concentration. And in some men, that becomes a real problem, and it has to be watched. This is one of the reasons I get uncomfortable with overly simplified online TRT models, where everything is fast, easy, and built around convenience. Now, convenience is great, and I like it, but not when it replaces a proper medical evaluation and follow-up. The third thing is fertility. A lot of men still do not fully realize that taking exogenous testosterone can replace or suppress the body's own signaling and reduce sperm production. And sometimes that's a lot issue. So if someone still wants children, that is a major conversation, not an afterthought, not a footnote. And honestly, is one of the biggest gaps I see in the public discussion on testosterone. So if you're watching this and thinking, okay, should I be looking into my testosterone? Now here's my practical advice. First, don't self-diagnose too fast. Being tired is common, low motivation is common, poor sleep is common, stress is common. Those things can overlap with low testosterone, but they're not the same thing. Second, if you're going to test it properly, now testosterone should be usually checked in the mornings, ideally from 7 to 10 a.m. because its levels are higher than the afternoon. So if you check it later in the day, it can look lower than it really is. Third, don't reduce this to just one lab value. A proper evaluation needs more context, not just total testosterone. You may have to check your free testosterone, SHBG, LH, FSH, and depending on the situation, other lab parameters too. Because remember, the real question here is not just, is the number low? The real question is, why is it low? Does it match the symptoms? And what is the safest and the smartest way to respond to it? And fourth and most important, don't ignore the basics like sleep deprivation, visceral fat, insulin resistance, your alcohol intake, chronic stress, inactivity. All those can push your testosterone down. Sometimes the most effective first step is not taking testosterone replacement. Sometimes it's fixing the biology that's suppressing it. And then if the TRT truly is appropriate, do it with somebody who knows what they're doing and who will actually follow you over time. Remember, that part matters a lot. So my bottom line is pretty simple. I think the FDA panel is probably right that testosterone has been over-restricted. I think some men who should have had access to proper evaluation and treatment were not served well. But I also think the answer is not to swing to the other extreme and start treating testosterone like a lifestyle product. It's a real hormone. It has real effects. It has real benefits in the right patient, and it also deserves real medical judgment. That's the part I don't want lost in all of this. If you find this content informative, please do like, subscribe, and share. And do comment as well, so we can discuss next on topics like science, test, and managing testosterone levels in men in the right way. Thank you for watching.